Hey guys, this is Reggie. I'm coming to the Gunpla network today to bring to you and review the high-grade Wing Gundam Zero Honoo from the manga series Gundam Build Fighters Honoo Tri. This is a modified version of the high-grade Wing Gundam Zero that came out back in around 2013. This was a version of the Wing Zero that came out concurrently with the Gundam Build Fighters Tri anime back in 2014-2015. So the manga Gundam Build Fighters Honoo Tri came out concurrently, so it was a side story. This is a modification of the original Wing Gundam Zero, designed by Yusei Kouen, and it was part of the Honoo team from that specific part of the manga. So I'm here today to talk about it and also discuss the differences between the Honoo Zero and the Gundam Fenice Renacita high grade. Building up the model kit all together, and it took about 3 hours. The assembly was straightforward. There are a few stickers here and there that you're going to use. Probably the worst ones, in my opinion, are the yellow trim parts for the twin buster rifle. I wish that was a separate piece, but I guess the technology at the time just wasn't quite there yet. So that's the most egregious sticker. Outside of that, you're just going to get the eyes, the sensor cameras, and you're also going to be getting some reflected tape or reflective sticker on the chest for the piece. All the clear pieces come in the corresponding green and orange. Not as sparkly as the Tri-Burning Gundam. That would have been nice if it had the sparkly effect. It's just a clear orange. And that is the only real amount of stickers you'll have to use. Everything else is built from the ground up with a good enough color separation. And always you can add panel lining and a little bit of detail to just spice it up pretty well. I think it came out of the box pretty good built. And let's take a look at the articulation. The articulation I felt was pretty good, but it was still hit or miss. The legs I felt were the weakest part. I just could not get all the articulation that I wanted. It would have been nice, especially with the waist. The waist kind of wants to give out because unfortunately, as this is a Wing Gundam, and specifically Wing Zero, it is a bit back heavy. This is a model kit that a action base or an action stand is almost mandatory, so you're going to really want to have to consider that when you want to purchase this. It's going to get all the head swivels, arms, biceps, double jointed knees. I also will say that, the waist is actually pretty strong and useful. And the toes, as much articulation as it needs for Neo Bird mode, actually hold up pretty well. It's just the waist and the upper legs that just don't hold it all well together. So when we talk to accessories, the whole thing is about the swords. We know Wing Zero for being it could do short range and long range, but they added a closer range element to it, and that's the feather sword. So the backpack can be kind of dismounted somewhat to be used as two guided blades that you can use to attack and disarm. And I thought it was actually a neat design. It's kind of like it was a nice little spin to what we typically have with the Wing Gundam Zero, because it's typically about bombardment and complete annihilation. This one is more akin to Exia Dark Matter or Gundam Bale, so if you ever wanted to pose those two to have a sword fight, that would be pretty dope. But as well, you're going to get the typical wing armament. You're going to get the twin buster rifle. Nothing too heavy, nothing too particular about it. It's just you hold it out together. Unfortunately, I will say it's a little bit disappointing that this kit only came with the holding hands and nothing else. No expressive hands, no trigger finger hands. It's just two blocks, and that's kind of sad. It would have been nice to be able to have a little bit more variety with your poses. Are also going to come with a redesigned buster shield. It's not as articulate or as immaculate as I remember it to be, but it's movable. You can mount it on the back of any of the forearms, and it comes with a beam saber on the inside, so you can pull out and have a beam saber. You only get one beam hilt, but you get two beam saber effect parts. It would have been nice if we got two included, but they figured Well, you got 2 giant swords on the back. Do you really need 4? And then the other accessory that comes with the kit is just the beam saber, and it's really all about the swords. That's what this kit is really designed and really thought out to be. It's about the sword, it's about the action, and with that, you're really, to access its full potential, you are going to need a action stand or an action base. In comparison to the Wing Gundam Fenice Renacita High Grade, I have often said that the high grade Fenice Renacita was actually better than the master grade outside of the surface detail, because I just had a lot more fun with it. I was able to pose. I was able to get all the ground poses I want. It came with the accessories a bit simplified, but that's not a problem because sometimes simpler is better. In comparison to the Fenice, I feel the Wing Zero Honoo, it's a great kit on its own, and it comes with fantastic gimmicks, especially with the feather sword. But my main problem is I didn't have as much fun posing it and as much fun playing around with the Honoo that I would have with the Fenice Renacita. While the Fenice has better accessories, I will say the overall build quality was a little better with the Honoo. However, just because of the lack of ability to pose and just the fact that the legs didn't always want to work with me, I go back and forth. I will still give the win to the Fenice Renacita. I find that it's the more superior high grade just because I felt like, in comparison to the master grade and all the other high grade Wing Gundams I've dealt with in my life, I just had a lot more fun. The accessories worked for me. They were simple and they were just more straightforward. Wing Zero Honoo needs a little bit more work, and overall it's just I have to actually think about poses, whereas the Fenice I was able to pretty much do wherever I wanted. So that was my main issue, and I gotta say, you can't go wrong with either or, but it's up to your preference. And that is it for my review of the Wing Gundam Zero Honoo. It's a great kit. It's a fantastic take on the Wing Zero. It's kind of like a nice kind of spin to it, especially with the sword. You make a more melee-oriented Wing Gundam Zero, especially the TV version, because I love the Okawara version. And it's a great kit, but there are some things that hold it back. I don't know if this was also relevant to the original Wing Gundam Zero high grade, but if it had any of these flaws, that's probably where it stems from. It holds itself back, and I feel that it's a great kit, and it's a great kit if you want to do like battle action poses with like an Astray or a Dark Matter Exia. On its own, it kind of doesn't really go well together in any real collection. Maybe Build Fighters try, but even then, it's kind of like, if I wanted to put this next to Tri Burning Gundam, I still feel like it would stand out in comparison. And overall, the design is nice, especially with the Wing Neo Bird mode, but at the same time, I feel like it's just a little bit lacking for me. Not that it's bad, but I feel like someone in the designing department was just kind of not fully there, and it's kind of disappointing because I feel like it could have transcended a little bit more. Like, this could have been the Cathedral Gundam for me. Also, I will also note, if you guys aren't familiar, there is a third-party set that goes with it, so you can add the Cathedral, I think it was the Cathedral parts. Basically, it added more detail, gave it more unique weapons, it was able to stand out more from its Wing Gundam Zero base. However, those parts came out in 2015. They're probably a bit more difficult to find, but if I were you and I could find those and I could afford it, I would get it, because I feel that's kind of the missing ingredient from this kit to make it stand out on its own, to give it more of its own identity, but also just have more things to play with. So that's my take here. Thank you so much to everyone who was involved with this. Might I add, before I go, to remind you guys that if you want this kit or anything else that you see available on our YouTube channel, go check out Canadian Gundam. They have a lot of niche and very varied set of Gunpla that you could buy and add to your collection. On that note, I am Reggie, and I will see you later.